Ahab was king over the 10 northern tribes of Israel. One of his palaces was here at Jezreel, where we're standing today. Down in the valley is a beautiful valley where Naboth lived. Naboth had a beautiful vineyard that Ahab wanted for a vegetable garden. He tried to buy it from him, but Naboth would not give it up. And later on, Jezebel, his wife, plotted a scheme to get the vineyard. Let's read about it from 1 Kings chapter 21, beginning at verse 1. And it came to pass after these things that Naboth the Jezreelite had a vineyard which was in Jezreel, next to the palace of Ahab, king of Samaria. Ahab spoke to Naboth, saying, Give me your vineyard, that I may have it for a vegetable garden, because it is near, next to my house, and for it I will give you a vineyard better than it. Or if it seems good to you, I will give you its worth in money. But Naboth said to Ahab, The Lord forbid that I should give the inheritance of my fathers to you. So Ahab went into his house sullen and displeased, because of the word which Naboth the Jezreelite had spoken to him. For he said, I will not give you the inheritance of my fathers. And he lay down on his bed, turned away his face, and would eat no food. But Jezebel his wife came to him and said to him, Why is your spirit so sullen that you eat no food? He said to her, Because I spoke to Naboth the Jezreelite and said to him, Give me your vineyard for money, or else, if it please you, I will give you another vineyard for it. And he answered, I will not give you my vineyard. Then Jezebel his wife said to him, You now exercise authority over Israel. Arise, eat food, and let your heart be cheerful. I will give you the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite. So Jezebel takes the seal of Ahab and writes letters to the elders, asking them to put on a feast for Ahab. And during that time, they were going to kill Naboth so that they could have the vineyard. Let's read about it on in 1 Kings chapter 21. And now we're going to jump down to verse 17. Then the word of the Lord came to Elijah the Tishbite, saying, Arise, go down to Ahab, king of Israel, who lives in Samaria. There he is in the vineyard of Naboth, where he has gone down to take possession of it. You shall speak to him, saying, Thus says the Lord, Have you murdered and also take possession? And you shall speak to him, saying, Thus says the Lord, In the place where the dogs licked up the blood of Naboth, dogs shall lick your blood, even yours. So Elijah the prophet came to him and told him that God knew what he did, and because he had killed Naboth, so the dogs were going to lick up the blood of Ahab also. And now here is Arie Bar-David to tell us this incident in the life of King Ahab and Naboth about his vineyard.
So here in chapter 21 of 1 Kings, we see that the main issue is inheritance. Naboth was not allowed to give inheritance. And it's not important what was in this inheritance. If it was a vineyard or a spring or a garden of vegetables. Logically, maybe there's some reason for Ahab to ask this spring for his vegetable garden, because for vegetable garden you need a spring. For growing vine you don't need a spring. Vines are depend only on the rain that comes from heaven. But again, the point is inheritance. According to the law of God, a man is not allowed to give on his inheritance. We have a very dramatic story in the Bible, in a book of Numbers, and there God says very clear things about inheritance. Not only that you are not allowed to give it on, but in chapter again 26 verse 54 is said, to a large tribe you shall give a larger inheritance, And to a small tribe you shall give a smaller inheritance. Each shall be given its inheritance according to those who were numbered of them. So this is one thing, and that's what actually Naboth said to Ahab. His words were that the Lord forbids me. It's from the Lord that I cannot give my inheritance. Now, keeping inheritance in the tribe is so strong that God even warns that during the millennial time, or the millennial temple that is described in Ezekiel 46, he warns the priest. He says to them, moreover, the prince shall not take any of the people's inheritance by evicting them from their property. You see? He shall provide an inheritance for his sons from his own property, so that none of my people may be scattered from his property. Look how much God prepares us here in this world to understand the meaning of property and inheritance. Why God is doing it? One reason, because He prepares us